Hello, I'm Chester Finn, the Senior Editor of Education Next, and I'm here to talk with Mike Petrilli, my colleague at the Fordham Institute and at Education Next, who has written a terrific piece for Education Next about differentiated instruction at a very interesting school in Montgomery County, Maryland. Differentiated instruction, Mike, why don't you start by telling our viewers what that is?
All right, well, what I argue in the article is that one of the greatest challenges facing our schools today is the academic diversity of any given classroom. In other words, our kids are all over the map in terms of achievement. You look on the National Assessment of Educational Progress, and you'll see if you look at the 10th percentile and the 90th percentile, even in the 4th grade, there's something like 6 grade levels separating those kids. And so if you're in a school where you happen to have children that represent that in complete diversity, and you're a teacher, it means that somehow you've got to instruct a 4th grader who's still learning to decode, while you've also got 4th graders reading at a high school level.
But is this possible?
Well, that's
or is
the
this
question.
unrealistic?
So, for a long time, what schools did is they broke kids into different groups.
Mm-hmm.
The bluebirds and the redbirds, so that they could all learn.
I was a
their own pace.
bluebird.
Congratulations,
Okay.
That's great.
Keep going.
I always suspected that, Checker. But that went out of fashion in the 80s and 90s and later. Kind of got caught up in the anti-tracking movement. People saying, no, that's racist or classist or elitist. To separate kids like that is bad for the self-esteem of the kids in the slow group, and that they do better when they're mixed in with the brighter kids.
That throws it to the teacher, an impossible job, no?
And so that is where differentiated instruction comes in.
Okay.
This is all the rage, and this lingo coming out of ed school says, we're going to find a way, miraculously, for this one teacher with 25 kids to differentiate instruction so that every child gets exactly what he or she needs.
Okay.
Specialized assignments, special reading projects, basically individualized instruction within a classroom.
So I get the concept now, but can it happen? Did you find it in the school? Was it really there?
So this school is where I live in Tacoma Park, Maryland. I'm working on a book about diverse schools like this one, very racially diverse, socioeconomically diverse. And they've got a huge amount of academic diversity, as I explained, and they are trying really hard to use a form of differentiated instruction. They don't want to just spend all day breaking kids into these groups by achievement, because frankly they'd have segregated classrooms by race and class. So what they do instead, so let me just explain it a little bit. So basically it's this elaborate dance where throughout the day, sometimes the kids are all together in a full group, and sometimes they're broken into these ability groups and remixed and mixed. And what they're particularly trying to do is they take a group of the highly, highly gifted kids, and they are mixed in with their sort of regular kids, and then part of the day they get to spend time by themselves so that they don't lose too much ground. Interestingly, though, when it comes to that's in reading. When it comes to math, they don't have as much of a problem with they just break the kids up by ability. And so there's one group of 3rd graders doing 5th grade math, which is interesting. For social studies, for science, for art and music, the kids are all together again.
Which
so it's
puts it back on the teachers to do the differentiated teaching.
Right. So, I think when you look at it, in many respects, what differentiated instruction means at this school more than anything else is sometimes we break kids up by ability groups, and sometimes we don't. And for whatever reason, math is a priority enough that they think that is when kids should be broken up by ability groups. Otherwise, there's more mixing going on.
So what I still want to know is, in the mixed classes, are the teachers able to cope with this challenge?
It's a huge challenge. And what I found was that there were some teachers who were phenomenal teachers who seemed to be able to pull it off, at least if they have, say, the very highest achieving kids and then the next level down. They made it clear that they weren't able to do it if they had the top kids and the very bottom kids in the same classroom. It was just too big a spread.
So within a reasonable range, it's much more feasible.
But this is a school that is in a very has a ton of parental support and community support. Very great resources from Montgomery County Public Schools. Able to get phenomenal teachers. And the question is, how many Piney Branches are there out there? Is this something that we can legitimately ask schools across the country to pull off? Teachers, ed school professors, and the general public, everybody is very skeptical about this, that it's doable. And we're doing it, for understandable and noble reasons. We don't want segregated classrooms. But it's a very good chance that by doing this, we are harming the highest achieving kids who are going to be bored if they're not getting the challenge they need.
A lot to think about. Thank you very much, Mike Petrilli. Everybody should obviously read this terrific article. And thanks for tuning in today.